Everyone, and thank you for joining me. This is Patty from PS Paper Crafts. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I'm going to demonstrate some of the new products in the new catalog. I'm going to make this card. It's so pretty. I love it. I'm using the Woven Heirlooms stamp set, and then there's some heirloom frame dies and 3D embossing folders. So you can cut out a rectangle or an oval frame, cut out the middle, and then you can emboss it with these embossing folders. So it's pretty cool. We're going to do a lot today. We're going to do dry embossing. We're going to do heat embossing, emboss resist, a lot of different things. So just bear with me. We've got a lot to cover. And I'm casing this card. Casing means copy and share everything. So you can copy a card from a person, or I'm copying it from the catalog, as long as you say who you got it from and don't take credit for it as your original idea. So this is the new catalog. This just came out earlier this month, June 2019, and it's just full of great stuff. And this woven thread suite, it's a whole suite of products. It has some beautiful designer series paper, and I'll be using that, as well as what I just showed you, the stamp set and the dies and embossing folders. So this is the card I'm making. Now they did this, I was trying to figure out how they did this. They used watercolor paper, and theirs is a little more striped than mine, but I like how mine came out, so I'm going with it. So I'm going to take you step by step, and they used a different trim than I did. I don't have that trim, so you use what you have and go with it. So the first thing we're going to do is get our watercolor paper. This is a piece of watercolor paper, and we're going to use our Versamark and just kind of tap around it to get the Versamark ink on. Now Versamark is just a sticky ink. It's clear, but when you add embossing powder and heat it, the embossing powder sticks to it and melts, and it's shiny. It's really pretty. So it's nice when you're doing a sentiment or an image, but you can just also just get the ink on, and I'm just going around, and I think this is where they maybe did some stripes. So I'm just taking the ink, see it's clear, and just patting it around my watercolor paper. So let's put this back, and then I have my white embossing powder, and I like to just keep it in this little plastic container so that I can use it and put it right back in. A lot of people have different storage ideas for this, but this is what works for me. And you're just going to cover your paper with it. I'm going to turn it over and do this side, and it doesn't look like anything. And actually, after we finish it, until we put ink on it, it's not going to look like anything, so bear with me. Okay, and let me just get this corner. And I like to just turn it over and give it a little flick to get all the excess off. And I'm working on a silicone mat just to keep it a little bit clean. And usually you would use an embossing buddy when you're doing this, but I didn't think on the watercolor paper and what I'm doing it would matter. So now I'm going to take my heat tool and I'm going to heat it up, and I'm going to speed it up so you don't have to watch me. You'll see me go on the back because it starts curling, so if you heat from the back, it helps with the curling it back. So just bear with me. I'm going to just go fast, and when it's shiny, I'll be done. So you know it's done is if you turn it around and it's shiny everywhere, and you don't see any of the powder anymore. So now I'm going to get my ink pad. I'm using Seaside Spray, and you can either squeeze your ink pad and get the ink from there, but I'm going to use a clear block, and I'm just going to get some ink on it. I don't have the ink refill. If I had that, I would probably just squirt a little bit of that. And I'm taking my aqua pen, and I'm just going to pick up some of this ink And let me just squeeze a little bit of water. I don't want a lot. So there's water in here, and you can just squeeze it out. And I'm just going to paint across here. Now it's going to resist where it was embossed, so the ink will only go where it finds some of the parts that aren't embossed, or it'll actually go on the embossed area, but it won't pick it up as dark. So I'm just going back and forth, and I'm going to pat it dry before I'm done to get off any of the excess water. But I thought this was a pretty look. When I first saw it in the catalog, I thought that, let me just get a little more ink, that it was designer series paper, and I was trying to find it. And then I realized that they made this themselves. So it's pretty cool. I love when you can kind of create something yourself with the colors you want. And this is one of the new in colors, Seaside Spray, and it's really a pretty color. So this is just a very light background. So let me put this on, and I'm going to get just a paper towel and just kind of dab it, because this is shiny. I don't want to have anything extra on it. And I'll just wipe this off, and I'll wash it later in the kitchen. So I think we're done with this. And now we want to get our dry embossing done. So we're going to first cut out the frame, and I'm going to cut it out in the Seaside Spray with my Big Shot. So it'll cut out the middle, which I'll save for another project. I'll just put this up, and I'll take my Big Shot out. And you know that Stampin' Up is going to come out, I think, with a new die cutting tool. So until they do, I like my Big Shot. And I'm just going to run that through. Take that out, and then I'm going to run a white, very vanilla one through as well. So this is going to give you this middle piece. You save that for another project. And then there's these 4 little holes in here that help you pop it out. And I think these will be great frames for cards. Let's see. There we go. So that's the frame. Put that aside. And now we want to do another one in very vanilla for the sentiment. So we'll just do the same thing. And then we're going to emboss the Seaside Spray one. Okay. Get it all the way out there. We only need one of the plates for the embossing. Where's my little tool? So let's pop this guy out. And I put the center is what I need on this one, not the frame. So we'll get the frame out later. I don't want to waste your time here. So we need the center. Okay, and then we're going to take this blue one, and we're going to take the embossing folder. And you can emboss this on a sheet without cutting it out, which is pretty nice as well. And what I did was I want the front of it where it says Stampin' Up. So what I did was it's a little bit bigger. I tried to make it just center. Hope you can see that. Fold the back on it. Looks like it's off a little bit. So you just have to play with it. You can put a piece of Post-it note on it to hold it in place. And then I'm going to, let's see, put this down and just have the one plate and run it through. I'm trying to do it slow so I don't shake it. Boom. All right, let's get rid of this guy. So here's our frame that is now a beautiful embossed frame. And I just absolutely love that. I think that's so pretty. So we're getting our pieces together. And then I have this piece in the catalog. It's a piece of the designer series paper, this piece back here. But I'm just using a piece of Sahara sand. So I looked in the back of the designer series paper to see what matched it. This is 2 inches wide. I'm going to use my banner triple punch because that's how I make my flags. And you just want to feed it in and have it look through the back. And then I'll just punch it. And I may have to trim the top of it. Kind of have to see how it lays out. And I'm going to put this down pretty, it's a little bendy. I'm going to use some liquid glue and really stick it down good. So I'm just going to cut a little bit off the top of this. Let me get my trimmer. I just want it to be a little bit shorter. So let's see. It is, I'm going to make it like 5 1/8 long. I always like to cut it a little bit longer and then measure it because it's never exactly the same from card to card. So let's make sure that looks okay. I actually, first time I cut it too short. And I have it down a little bit. In the book, it covers the bottom. So you kind of follow the book, so you'll see it covers that point in the bottom. And you could do it however you want. You don't have to be so picky like I am. Okay, let's do our stamping. So I'm using 2 of the other in colors. I'm going to use Terracotta Tile and Pretty Peacock. And I love the sentiment, wishing you a day of love and joy. And that is from the stamp set. And I love this as well. Prayers and heartfelt sympathy are with you and your family. This one I think you can use for, you know, a birthday, an anniversary, a wedding, something like that. So I didn't do the inside. I'll probably put another layer of very vanilla just to make it a little sturdier. But you could stamp right on that, but don't make a mistake. So I have the sentiment already mounted. And we're just going to put that down there. And then we'll do this little squiggly top and bottom. And I tried to do this by looking at the top and bottom of the oval to see for placement. Okay, put these away, and now we just put everything together. So I'm going to adhere this down with the liquid glue onto here, and then I'm going to tie the ribbon around it. So the liquid glue, or I would say tear and tape, because this is shiny. I wouldn't do snail on this one. Just try to center it. And then I'm going to put this down with dimensionals. It's kind of funny because the ribbon goes underneath the sentiment but over the frame. So I'm just following the picture. I'm not sure I would have thought to do that, but it's different. I like it. It's nice to have something to follow. Another idea. Let me just close this up so it doesn't dry up. And we'll take all of these off. And then on the inside, I actually put 2 dimensionals because I thought it needed to pop up a little bit higher. I wasn't sure how this would work because there is a little depth to it. So we'll put this down here. Okay, And then I'm going to take my, this is the braided linen trim, and I'm going to just wrap it around twice and tie a bow. So hopefully this will go okay on camera, because you know how that is. Okay, let's get this guy flipped around. I do like the ribbon. What they did in the, they cut the one end of the trim off, and if you look at the picture and see the trim, you'll see what I'm talking about. But I think this is just as fine, or you can do just the linen thread if you wanted to. So we're going to just take our ribbon scissors and cut the end. And I'm just going to cut this end just to make it a little cleaner. Okay. All right, so let's put this on the card, and it's a very vanilla card base. And I'll have all the dimensions and everything on my blog, pspapercrafts.com, so don't worry about it right now. And again, I'm going to go all the way out and kind of put a lot of this glue on. You probably could put this on with dimensionals as well to help with the ribbon in the back. I have to check to make sure I had it on the card the right way. I've done that before, where the card's opening this way. Did you ever do that mistake? That's a good one. Okay, so let's get this on. And again, I'm going to put double dimensionals. So I'm going to put them all down, and then I'm going to take off the backing and put them down again. Put a second one on top of it. And it just will make it a little bit taller, higher, and make sure it goes over the ribbon and all of that. Isn't this a pretty card though? I just love I love the color, and I love the embossed frame. So I'm really happy with how it came out. So I would love for you guys to try to copy a card from the catalog as well. And you could put it on my Facebook page and share what you do. It's nice to share. It's nice for somebody to figure out how to do it and then tell everybody else so that they can figure out how to do it. So that's always a nice thing. See, so now it's a little bit higher. And we'll take the backing off. And then I have some sequins and faceted dots and a couple of different things that I'm going to put on it. It's a little bit different than what they use in the catalog, but use what you have, right? I love the font on this as well. It's very pretty. Okay, so let's we have the in color faceted gems. So this is one of the in colors. We'll use that. And I'm going to use this pick a tool and put a couple of these down. It makes it a little bit glittery, right? And then I have some of these adhesive back sequins. So we'll put a couple of these down and just, you know, make it a little bit fancier. And then some of the rhinestones. So we'll put a couple of these down as well. Ooh. And one more. And then we're done. So again, I didn't do the inside because I'm not sure who I'm sending it to and for what occasion, but I do think I would put another layer in there. So these are the two cards. I think they're beautiful. I love this, and I hope you enjoyed it and come back and watch again. You have a good day. Bye.